G'day everybody, hello everyone, welcome to Newcastle Fans TV. I'm representing the Brisbane Roar. I've got Chris with us as well. Hey, I've got your top on, mate, thank you very much for that. How are you doing?
Nice, mate. Yeah, good. The season hasn't kicked off for the A-League yet, but yeah, we might get down to a couple of Brisbane games. So you're probably the number one Newcastle supporter of that team.
Now that's going to be a meme somewhere on the internet right there, right now. Right, I've got Chris on. He's on a couple of videos. You'll see him again tomorrow as long as there's no other breaking news. First of all, just talking about Joelinton and where's he going to fit in, because we've done a reaction video. As some of you know, we had a bit of a heads up the previous night. We were, put it this way, we knew what was going to happen. Some people doubted it, but you can see on your screen that there's proof that Joelinton was replying to fans in Portuguese, and we were right. Who would ever doubt us, Chris, eh? Who would ever doubt us? Know what I mean? Right, before I get on to Joelinton, this is the first time I've really spoke to you about Rafa going and Steve Bruce coming in. What's your thoughts of the club appointing Steve Bruce?
Well, the day that Rafa left, I felt like my granny had died, to tell you the truth. And I was just reading that Martin Hardy book, and I had to put it down because I was just sick as a dog. And I thought, you know, where do we go to now? And when Bruce was appointed, I felt like it was a bit like McLaren 2.0. It just had that same feeling about it. But then I sort of, you know, I had to get over it. I had to sort of shelve the emotions and think more rationally and just think, you know, you've got to give him a chance. He's a local boy. Obviously, he had a stellar playing career. You know, he should have been capped for England, and he has been around the block managerially, but I guess you feel like it's a step back. But I was just thinking about it. I think maybe the power play between Ashley and Rafa, power of egos and direction, maybe that has a bit to do with it as well. And Bruce might just fit in a little bit better, because I'm very curious about where this cash has come from and why the purse strings have been unleashed straight away. And Rafa, it was always a tight ass brigade. You know what I mean? So maybe it's personalities, maybe he just clashed with Ashley.
Maybe it's Steve McLaren 2.0 because we're spending money. We've got a dinosaur head coach. No, but you know, Steve Bruce, look, he's been around the block. We've talked about him quite a bit on that channel. We're going to move on to, as I say, the main point in this video is Joelinton, Chris. So I'm just going to read out a statement, a couple of statements of what Joelinton and Steve Bruce have said. First of all, so Joelinton said on the club's website, "I'm really happy to be here. I know it's a large investment that the club have made in me, and that comes with a huge responsibility. I'm highly motivated, and I hope to give back on the pitch." And Steve Bruce turned around and said, and it sounds like he doesn't know much about him on the first paragraph, the kids got Chris is laughing, the kids, I can't even say it now, Chris, the kids got an exciting time ahead of him. He's a smashing young player, and we're obviously delighted to get him. It's been going on for a little bit now, so to get him is great for everybody. He's got everything that a modern day player wants. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, and of course he's got an age on his side too, which is vitally important. He's learned the history and wanted it, as in terms of the number 9 shirt, and that's always a big shirt to fill, but in his eyes it was like, bring it on, and that's what I'm here for. He's risen to that challenge, and I'm sure he will be a big favourite with the supporters. He's got an incredible work rate about him, he's got a really good humility about him, and all the attributes to be a top striker what they needs. What do you make of those statements first, Chris, from both of them?
Well, obviously, yeah, getting a chance in the Premier League is key for that lad. He's probably been watching games himself and looking at bigger teams and getting that opportunity. You're always going to jump at it. And yeah, getting the number 9, obviously, he's probably going to look into the history and see what sort of weight that bears. And yeah, I guess we can only surmise if Bruce knew he was coming in or not. You know, there's been a lot of talk about, you know, him being in control of transfers. Who knows what the hell's going on? We can only sort of really surmise. But I'm super happy we've got someone in. I was just thinking about Kyle using some sort of hashtag like Big Beautiful Man Mark II or something.
Whoa, Big Beautiful Man Mark II. Kyle, message me. Right, okay. So, Chris, what about the fee? It's a massive chunk, and Sky reported tonight that it's in full. 40 million upfront in full. It's for a player who's only had 1 season in the Bundesliga, 2 in the Austrian division. That's a huge risk, isn't it?
So that's where I sort of feel this is more in alignment with how Ashley has run the club before, not necessarily in the fee, but just the age of the player. I think obviously he's clashed with Rafa over Rondon. Rafa's wanted to keep Rondon, but he's been worried about his age and the fee and the wages and blah, blah, blah. So this has fitted in. And as I think Paul mentioned, they haven't really outlaid anything. It's the Perez money plus Joselu money plus maybe a few scratchings. We can only sort of surmise that, but we're trying to think what's going on behind the scenes and what's in Ashley's head. It's hard to understand or decipher it, but we just got to be happy he's here, and we've got striking options. I mean, god damn, we were like, who did we have last week? Gale, and that was it. He was playing Murphy and Aaron's up front in the second half of that Asia Cup. So just be happy with that. Let's not scramble our brains thinking about what's going on the inside.
But we've smashed the record despite really only spending 8 million. So you mentioned...
I'm happy with that. It's just strange that Rafa didn't get that support. And I just probably it was just a battle of egos and you know, what do you call it? Two bloody... what do you call it in Australia? Roosters. You know, top two roosters. There's only one rooster in the roost. There's only one rooster's in the hen nest. You know what I mean?
An Australian thing. Chris is actually a Geordie. He was born over here. He's grew up in Australia. Right. The next one you've actually mentioned about Solomon Rondon. He's getting Joelinton. There's a few fans already getting on his back, which I think is a bit harsh. Got to give the kid a bit of time. But if I read these stats off to you, I would put the Bundesliga probably the third best league in the world behind La Liga and the Premier League. Last season in all competitions, Joelinton, it's his first season in the Bundesliga. He played Champions League football. 11 goals, 9 assists in 35 games. It's just over 1 and 3. But if you compare that to Rondon scored 1 more goal, 2 less assists, and played 2 less games. So the stats are almost identical, bar 1 or 2. Very similar stats. So is he a direct replacement for Rondon? Or is he more of Perez's replacement? Or will Newcastle use him like Hoffenheim did because he can play as the second choice, or he can play up top? Where are Newcastle going to use him?
I would have thought he would be the main striker, to tell you the truth, because of his size and probably ability to hold the ball up. I've seen a couple of clips of him sort of taking the ball in the halfway line, dribbling, beating teams, but I think we're going to need him as the battering ram, to tell you the truth, and you can maybe play smaller players off of him like Almiron, maybe Gale. Is Gale out the door? I don't know. Maybe he's still here. Okay, so yeah, just play the little and large, and it looks like Bruce is going to play 2 up top, hopefully. So, you know, bugger that, you know, 1 up top system. We've been crying out for 2 strikers for a long time, so I think he'll be playing up top as the main striker with someone off him.
What will be the best? What would be basically Rondon's replacement? Well, the question is, will we miss Rondon? Only time will tell on that. But what is the best system for Joelinton? Because last season Hoffenheim played like a 4-2-3-1, but also he played as the second. He was never up top on his own ever. If he played up top, there was always a man alongside him. But I feel we'll look stronger as a wing-back system. So do we go with what we went right now? I know it's difficult to say now because Steve Bruce will probably want to test a couple of more pre-season games, but 5-3-2, is that the way forward right now, you would say?
Yeah, I think the exact same formation that he played in that first half. Well, I guess he played the whole game with that system at the Asian Cup versus West Ham. They looked so much better, especially with Shelvey in the 3 and, you know, 2 up top. Sorensen should have scored. Mutu was moving, and that's another one that we haven't mentioned, Mutu, because he got frozen out last year. I was screaming last year for Mutu to replace Perez in the first half of the season. So there's, you know, you talk about his new signings. Guy's already here. The bloke didn't have a run. He had like 2 games and came on as sub. So he is like, to me, he is like a new combination, new signing. So him, Mutu, Gale, there's a lot of options now. So it's, but yeah, that exact formation with the 2 up top with the wing backs, yeah. That's what I'd want to go with.
Also helps Shelvey's case as well, having 3 in that midfield. Right, okay. What next then, Chris? So we've got a big signing. It's a bit of a statement. The first big one. Surely it's got to go now, make another statement. Go and get another striker. Go and get your right back. Go and get your centre mid. Surely you've got to bit of push that on with momentum.
Well, you'd assume so, but who knows what the hell's going on? You can't pick it. We've gone from like total depression to, the heights of breaking the transfer record. So I can't even answer the question. Are they in for Charlie Austin? I just saw some stuff around him today. He's another battering ram. So what is he? He's like a replacement, or they're vying for the same position, him and Joelinton. Not sure. Yeah, look, who knows, mate? It's hard to say. Really hard to say. I know, Paul has a go at Charnley, and he's a director of football, isn't he? So, I mean, what can I say? That guy should be working in the pound shop. I don't know. I can't tell you.
There's a thing going around with the pound shop. I don't know if you've seen that, but what would you like to say? What position right now, if I give you whatever unlimited amount of cash, you're going to go and fix that position? What's next? What's the next key?
It's the right back, isn't it? I think it's the right back because obviously, how does Kyle pronounce him? Manquillo. He's not up to scratch. He did well last year when he had to fill in. Yedlin's defensively, suspect. In my degree. So the right back. I'd like to see a midfielder come in because they've lost Diame, someone who is that type of ilk who can get stuck in and break play up. I'm not sure Colback is that type of player, and I'm not sure where Hayden's head's going to be as far as a new season, wanting to be away and stuff. So I think we need someone in there with Hayden, Shelby, and someone who has got a clean slate coming to a new club that wants to prove something in that position.
Please don't.
No. Oh, God, I didn't even think about him. I mean, he's a backup.
He's a new signing, Chris.
No, he's a backup at best, but I think we need to replace Diame, someone of the same ilk but younger, like a Patrick Vieira type. I don't know.
Find them. Finally, who'd you kick out the club? Give us some names.
Yeah, it's tough because you're going to build your team around these new signings and bits and pieces, and you've got to look at the backup. Who's there to back up? So we're pretty thin on the ground, aren't we? So we don't really want too many numbers going out. I would probably get rid of Colback, to tell you the truth. Lazar, on his showings, but is he right back? He's playing right back, isn't he, Lazar?
Against Wolves. Against Wolves, who's trying to.
So he's going to be replaced. We need that replacement. He needs to be replaced with a new signing. Colback needs to be replaced with a new signing, so that there will be the two. Maybe keep Sauvé as a backup. That's probably the two positions.
Maybe another centre back, one of the right backs. What about one of the two keepers, a right back? Get rid of one of them.
Sorry, yeah. Well, the keeper situation's pretty crazy. They've got like 5 keepers, haven't they? So that's mental. You'd probably loan out Woodman again, wouldn't you? And then you'd probably get rid of Darlow. And we've never rated him. You only need 3. Who they got? Like Dubravka,
Elliott, Darlow, Harker, Woodman. But for me,
so you'd probably have Dubravka, Elliott, and Woodman, wouldn't you? And get rid of Darlow. What's happened to Elliott? He used to be the first. Like, is he even playing reserves?
Well, Rafa wanted him out, but now he's injured at the moment. But this is Steve Bruce. He might just give him a clean slate. So you just don't know.
I think he's a better backup goalie. He should be on the bench. He's a much better backup goalie than Darlow, to tell you the truth.
Make Woodman number 2 and get rid of the rest. But that is the wrap up. That was Chris. Chris is going to be back tomorrow, and we're going to be talking from an international fan's point of view, because we have mentioned international fans quite a lot recently. Their view on the boycott, their view staying away, their view on buying TV subscriptions. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Thanks very much, Chris, for coming on.
No worries. See you later.